Hey guys, HW. Just looking up at the statue of John Lang in Wynyard Park. Let's take a moment on this Friday afternoon in Sydney to learn a bit more about Mr. Lang. So this plaque here that was opened by Bob Carr, Premier of New South Wales, in 1999 tells us a bit about John Lang. For 55 years he was a minister of the Scots Church, which is just across the road, which we'll go past in a moment. He founded the Presbyterian Church in Australia. He promoted schemes for skilled and educated immigrants. He helped introduce higher education and supported a general school system. He had a vision for Australia as an independent nation with a significant role in the Pacific region. He respected the intelligence and culture of the Aboriginal people and worked to remove discriminatory poll tax from the Chinese population. Lang was elected to the New South Wales Parliament on 7 occasions, with Wynyard Park the scene of his triumphs in the popular vote elections to get into the Legislative Assembly. A fervent Democrat, Lang helped establish responsible government in New South Wales, laid the foundation for a future federal structure by urging separation for Victoria and Queensland, and was one of Australia's pioneer Republicans as well. And he survived between 1799 and 1878. So there you go, and there's a Scots Church just across the road behind that double-decker bus there. We've been there before. Let me put my disguises on and push my sunglasses and tell you what we're going to do today. There's no real massive plan. It's a nice day. It's been raining on and off in Sydney over the past week. We had a big weather system move down from Queensland. Been a bit of flooding up there as well. And there's supposed to be some more rain tonight. And just as I came into Wynyard Park here, the ground's quite slushy, and there's a bit of a mud patch over there next to that column there, and I almost slipped on it as I walked through. So what I was planning to do today, I'll get out onto York Street in a sec, and I thought I might, haven't been there for a while, I thought I might walk down to the Finger Wharves on the western side of the bridge, see if the fishermen got any, or had any luck catching some fish around the wharf, around the dock, around the jetty, around the little pylons around the Finger Wharves. Now the wind was from the north before, but now it's swung around to the southeast. And the temperature today in Sydney, as we look at these bin chickens over here on the side of this scaffold, 21 degrees Celsius it's supposed to be in Sydney today, and the wind's currently from the southeast at 9 kilometres an hour. So I do expect by the time I walk down to the Finger Wharves that the wind should have switched around to the north. Spin chicken's got its eye on me. But let's get going. Here's this mud patch that I almost slipped on. But let's get out onto York Street. I'll have a quick little squeeze of York Street here outside Wynyard Station, and then we'll go for a bit of a walk.
Other ideas in case you hate that.
So we've got a bit of a surveyor down here, a female surveyor. You don't see that too often. It's really a male-dominated game, I think. tools there, trying to line it up with the laser. A few people sitting in the window of this cafe here, tucking into some lunch. This is probably one of the Northern Beaches buses coming into Wynyard here. Double decker. May have come from Mona Vale or maybe further afield. And another one too. Let's walk through this little square outside the front of 259 George Street. I have no idea what that's meant to symbolise. Let's see if the plaque tells us. No, it doesn't say. That doesn't say that plaque. No, it'll have to remain a mystery. Stop here on the intersection of George and Bridge while I get my phone out. Feel myself a little short. There's a big advertisement for that Hamilton on the side of that building there. I wonder how much that costs to whack that banner up. Let's walk down this side of George Street at the Rocks and film some of the punters tucking into their lunch at the cafes. Direct the camera that way. That's what they go with all these empty chairs are here. Guys having a bit of a snooze over there. Bit more life at this restaurant just here. Keep talking over the top of the music. Sounds like a bit of Italian music. I'm not sure. A few people sitting outside the Orient over there. Long time since I've been in the Orient Hotel. Never bothered to focus on this building before. Look at this ye old building down here. It's got a plaque down there to tell us what it is, but I can't be bothered going down there. Or, unless there's a staircase there, we'll go down and check it out. There's signs telling us there. It's Cadmans Cottage. Never bothered to look at it. Let's have a quick squeeze. Looked after by national parks. Certainly old anyway. See if I can get in this door without banging my head. Nah. Bang my head. They must have been short in those days. What's this tell us? What does this tell us? Oh, it's a restoration project. That's not very helpful. There was another staircase here, but they've blocked it off. Just here was the entrance. What bloody plants there? Oh wow. It's cool around the front. There we go. There you go. John Cadman was the last and longest serving superintendent of government boats and lived in this cottage from 1827 to 1845. There's a bit of a rendering of what Circular Quay looked like back in the day. All the land near the water cleared away. Shout out to Brenda, she was mentioning what Circular Quay looked like back in the old days. It gives you a little bit of an idea, that photo. This door over here looks like it's a bit taller. Oh yeah, look, there you go. There's another rendering of Circular Quay back in the day. This is a view of Sydney in 1803. Certainly an old building. Anyway, let's get down the stairs and see if I can fit in this door without bumping my head. Yeah, I can get in this one easily. I think I've mentioned before, I'm about 6'2", so not too tall, but some of these old doorways around the rocks provided an obstacle for me. The Friday observations come true again. Tourists walking around everywhere. VW cop car, I haven't seen one of those before. Passat, VW Passat as a police car. I think general patrol cars in Sydney and New South Wales can be anything, really. The pursuit cars, so the highway patrol, these days they're normally BMWs. In the old days there used to be Holden Commodores and Ford Falcons that had been hotted up. What's this bunch doing? I don't know if they're a school group or a sporting group. Not sure. Oh, look what I spied here. Coffee joint called Brudo's Coffee. Not too hard to twist my arm, I'm going to get one. Here I come, Brudo's. Oh, here we are in Brudo's Coffee, waiting for skilled barista to make HW's nectar. Got some cheeky brownies down here. Pistachio and coconut slices. There's Brudo's Coffee emblem on the side of the cup there. Got some banana breads and croissants here. Bacon and egg rolls. Oh, I've sat the nectar down on the ye old sandstone windowsill of what's called Campbell's storehouse from 1838 to 1861. Let's try the nectar, see what it's like. Oh, delicious. I've showcased this joint before, the Park Hyatt down at Campbells Cove, but have a look at the view that it commands. Over Circular Quay, over to the Opera House, out to Fort Denison, Overseas Passenger Terminal. If you've got the coin, certainly a delightful place to rest your head when you're in Sydney. Look at this bunch here going out on the little rubber ducky. Don't know whether I'd be keen to go out on that. You're going to get pretty wet if they go past the wash of one of these larger yachts. Here goes the Jackson. Looks like a bit of a luncheon cruise, that one. These Dalmatians over here. Don't know who this guy is here doing an interview in the park, but he's got a US flag on the side of his jacket, and I overheard him talking about either hypersonic rockets or planes, and he was talking about it being an exciting time for Australia and the US, so maybe we'll see him on the news later tonight. Let's take this shady spot under the bridge here to have a look across at Milson's Point and Luna Park as this little ferry. He's had a noisy motorbike. As this little ferry putters across underneath. Putt, 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 putt. You can see the rides going at Luna Park, Ferris wheel going around. A few of the other rides spinning around. Look at these fun seekers over here on the Thunderjet. Let's walk up this little park on the southwestern pylon of the Harbour Bridge. There it is up there. I don't think I've ever bothered walking through this little park here. Delightful palm tree just sitting there. That part of the pylon just there looks like it at one point might have had an entrance to maybe pull some of the stones up it in the construction. Where's this little staircase go? Just a little bridge into one of the finger wharves. See Barangaroo in the distance there. Let's get down this other little staircase on the other side and get over to the wharves. There's no clouds above me, but I'm getting a sprinkle of water on me. I don't know how that's working. That's this guy getting his wedding photos down here. I'm gonna have to hold off for a bit. Yeah, he's moved me out good. It's like Tyro Power's got a bit of a function on down at the pier here today. Jogger's keen as mustard. He's got the band around his chest monitoring his heart rate. This is a good shot. This will give you an idea of the ramp on the Harbour Bridge before it actually hits the water. So where you can see that platform just past the palm tree, that's where the water is. So that's where the water starts. And then we go all the way back. You can see how far the ramp goes before it actually gets onto the part of the bridge that crosses the water. this road here, I can't remember what it's called, I'll put it in the text later, but this road was featured in one of the Matrix films as well. There's a scene where what's her name, Carrie Moss, I think her name is, who played Trinity. She's driving a truck down this street in one of the scenes. See if I can pop that in as well. But let's get onto these finger wharfs or piers or whatever you want to call them. This one here on the corner is called Pier. I think it used to be called Pier 1 back in the day. It had a few restaurants in it. But these other ones we definitely think of as finger wharfs. So let's get around them all and see if we can find any fishermen catching anything. I was always told you caught more in the sheltered inlets and harbours around Sydney when there was a northerly wind blowing rather than a southeasterly. And when I look up at the flag on the Harbour Bridge, it looks like it might be southeasterly, so that would usually mean the fish are sheltering in deeper water. So we may not see any action. Let's just say fish responsibly. See if there's anything big on here. No, there's no real big things. Only that you can't cook on the wharf. You can't bring barbecues and you can't start fires. But everything else is a bit of a free-for-all. You do need a fishing licence in Australia though, or at least in New South Wales, to fish, even off the pier. See the sign for Walsh Bay down at this dock down here. Is there still does anyone know, is there still a ferry that comes into Walsh Bay? Or is it just for private ferries to come in, or private boats? That's a good shot of Pier 1 with a Harbour Bridge in the background. This open staircase here, it says no public access. I wouldn't want to get up it anyway. You need to be a dead set mountain goat to climb up those stairs, it's so steep. Oh, here's the first of a fishermen. Doesn't look like they've caught anything from what I can see. Just here, just at this spot, the sun's beating down on my face. It's a smell of salt water in the air. It's a light breeze. I can see people up on the top of the bridge doing the bridge climb. Train heads up the North Shore line, probably to Hornsby or Barangaroo even. Few boats get around. Let's see how this fisherman's going up here. Those other guys that took off, either they didn't catch anything and were going home, or they might have caught something earlier and decided to head off. I wasn't going to ask them. Plenty of fishermen around though. They might be catching something. See these guys on the corner down here as well. Some lads over at that other one over there. I've mentioned this before, but these fingerboards here, most of these are I can't remember which one it is. I can't remember whether it's this one or this one over here, but one of them's the Sydney Dance Company, and there's also a theatre in there as well. Let's go over and see how the other fishermen are going. Now I'm getting my bearings. That one over there, Pier 2 and 3, that's the Sydney Theatre Company, and then this one on this side, which is Pier 4 and 5, is the Sydney Dance Company. Just looking up at the bridge here. If you do the pinch on your phone screen or your laptop, you should be able to zoom in on 3 separate groups on the bridge doing the climb. There's one down the bottom, just there. There's one about up, and then there's one at the top. See how these fishermen are going. Nah, there's no fish amongst that either. Just lots of bait. There goes that speedboat again. I don't know whether you can hear. It is actually screaming in the coming across the water from Wynyard Park. This pier over here is private residences. A couple of people have got their little motor yachts moored there as well. Of course there has to be a grinder going to spoil this little vista. Oh no, they're stopped. Surprisingly, there's some shops open on this little stretch here. So cafe over there, dry cleaners. There's some sort of restaurant over here with all the flowers in the window. Oh, it mentions it's got coffee as well. So maybe a bit of a cafe. There's a skater boy. He was a skater boy. Oh, there you go. A Walsh Bay cafe. And a wine cellar to boot next to it. And the Walsh Bay Food Emporium. What a delight. I've never noticed these shops before. And I've driven through here and walked through here. So there you go. I just used this little sculpture here outside Pier 6 to swap the battery out. Let's have a look at some of the old machinery that was used to haul things around at this wharf. This hasn't been used for a while, quite rusty. Old hoist, a hook on the end of it. Is that what you call it? Do you call it a hoist? There's one on the other side here. Ah, there you go. It's called a jib crane. Just saying here that a French architect by the name of Philippe Robert had something to do with Walsh Bay, or maybe was going to redevelop it at some stage. I'm not going to read through all of that. I'm struggling without my glasses. But look at these old wooden beams anyway. Pretty solid. Stood the test of time. Just before that window over there, which is called Sydney Dog Society, there was a lovely big dog sitting in the window looking out. It's a shame it's gone. Didn't get the battery in quick enough. There's Rosalind Packer Theatre over there. Rosalind Packer of the famous Packer dynasty family in Australia. Keen sponsor of the arts, Rosalind Packer. Good on her. Impressive looking theatre anyway. Never been in there to see a show. Might have to put that down on my list of things to do. So almost get run over by this golf cart. I wonder if I'm going to have to walk all the way down to Barangaroo to be able to make it back up into the city. I can't remember. I've lost my bearings down here. Oh, there we go. Access to Windmill Street. Let's get up there. We know Windmill Street. I've focused on that before, covered that before. Here's an old elevator here. Wall bale elevator. And back in the day when Australia rode on the back of the sheep's back. These days we're reliant more on the resources. The resources that the people of Australia don't own. Seems to all be owned by overseas companies. It's a great shame that. I know a number of governments have tried to change that by nationalising the mines. But no luck. Big globalists are too powerful. We should be like Norway or Qatar, self-sufficient with some of our resources, but nah. Speaking of dynasties, there's a lot of dynasties that sell resources in Australia, unfortunately. Just slinging us a few jobs is not enough. We should have full control over that. Some of the old government housing that was around in the day. I don't know whether it still is or not. I'd expect these ones down here probably private these days, but back in the old days they were. Oh, Rawson Hall. This stone was laid by His Excellency. Let's try that again. By His Excellency Vice Admiral Sir H.H. Rawson, Governor of New South Wales, on July 16, 1904, and thus the hall is named after said person. Don't know what Rawson's Hall's used for anymore, but I couldn't help to get the camera out again as we cross under these, or pass under these old terraces with their wooden verandas out the front. These wooden beams don't look like enough support to hold those verandas up, do they? Well, I might end the video here on the corner of High Street and Kent Street, overlooking Barangaroo. See the Barangaroo Tower glistening behind me. I thank you for coming on the walk today. Now next week, planning a couple of big vids next week. I haven't done a bit of a sort of a decent vid project in Sydney for a while, and I've got something that I've been thinking about for a few months now that I wanted to do, so I'll probably get that done, and at the same time I'll probably get out and film the new metro stations as well that are due to open up on Monday. So that should be a couple of entertaining vids there. So yeah, as we look up at the Crown Casino at Barangaroo, well, thank you for coming on the little stroll today. Got round a few different joints. See you in the next vid. The video, as this big Renault van comes past, is over. There's a quick glimpse of the new metro station at Barangaroo. Looking pretty good. Looking ready to go. Obviously some of the landscaping around across the street hasn't been done yet, but definitely the station itself's looking pretty much done.